Hey, Geekscapists, did you miss me? It's Jonathan, your host. And if this is your first Geekscape, well, strap yourselves in for some pop culture talk. I think that's like my new little phrase. Welcome to Geekscape. I'm Jonathan Lennon, your host. If this is your first Geekscape, strap yourselves in for some pop culture talk. But it's the catchphrase because it's like the accurate one. We talk movies, video games, comic books, TV, all the pop culture stuff that you can fit under the hood of a pop culture podcast in about an hour. Sometimes I like to talk to creators, maybe they're actors, filmmakers, comic book creators, and sometimes I'm just talking to my friends. This person that is on my show is actually my partner in Geekscape creatively. He runs the Geekscape network. His name is Matt Kelly. He's going to be on here to talk a little bit of let's just call it a Geekscape State of the Union because we're going into a brand new year. Happy New Year, everybody. We're going to talk a little bit about the holidays, and then we're going to start talking about what Geekscape's got going on in the new year. I'll be talking a little bit about Avatar: The Way of Water. I went and saw that one. I enjoyed it. I think he saw Glass Onion. That's the Knives Out sequel. He'll be talking about that. And then I'm going to tell you about a brand new superhero franchise that you probably overlooked that I think is pretty badass. So you might want to stick around and find out what that is. Maybe I'll sneak in some comic book talk. I've been using the holidays to catch up on comic books. And I got to tell you, I'm enjoying some of the big Marvel crossovers that usually Marvel crossovers or any big company crossovers when it comes to comic books. They're so daunting and you have to buy so many issues to kind of know what's going on that usually they're just exhausting. But Marvel's actually done a pretty good job of them. And they got this recent one going on in the X-Men and Spider-Man books that actually ties back into a storyline going on in X-Men that was from like way back when I was in like 4th or 5th grade, the Inferno storyline and the Clone Saga and I'm talking myself out of this. I'm talking myself out of enjoying Dark Web, but I've been enjoying it because it's kind of justifying two clone storylines that each happened in X-Men and Spider-Man that were positively and negatively critiqued when they came out, and now they're kind of merging them in a crossover in both books, and I'm actually enjoying it. It's fun, and for a nerd like me, I'm digging it. I went on a honeymoon. I don't know if you've been enjoying your Geekscapes, but you've been getting some pretty damn good ones out of Los Angeles Comic Con. Did you enjoy the LeVar Burton conversation? I think you did because a ton of people downloaded that one. The Amy Jo Johnson one was great. And then Steve Burns from Blues Clues, that was a fantastic conversation. They're all up on the feed. So when you're done listening to this, go back through the feed and be like, I want to hear what Steve from Blues Clues has been up to. The answers are right there in the Geekscape feed. Also, we had our own panels, and there's some fantastic ones on the feed. There's one, maybe you're listening to this and being like, hey, this numbskull can do the podcasts. And Matt Kelly, he's accepting of so many podcasts on the network. I want to work with these guys. Maybe I'll start a podcast. Well, there's a podcast there's a panel for that we did at LA Comic Con, and that's up on the feed. So go listen to that. And we did a Geekscape Live, and that was a lot of fun. It was like a grab bag of friends from LA Comic Con, and they all kind of got mic time. They got up on the mic and had their fun. Sorry, Geekscapists who are watching this live. Something's like floating in my office like a piece of lint, and I'm playing grab at it. So if you're listening to this, you're like, dude, just stay focused. It's tough. It's a brand new year. There's so much going on. So why don't we do what we do not so best, and let's just get the show started. All right, hang tight. Here's the theme song. We're going to Geekscape. All right, Geekscapists, welcome to a brand new Geekscape. And I got to say I love you because I will start talking about some of the most I don't know, lesser known stuff in the nerdscape, as we call the Geekscape, and somebody in the comments is always like, "Wait, I know what you're talking about," and I love that. First off, we got a Facebook user, I think it may be Jim, who says, "I would love to see the video about podcasting." No, it's not. The thing is, we recorded that as a panel at LA Comic Con, so it's audio only. The LA Comic Con stuff is audio only because I don't have any video production at LA Comic Con. If anything, I can get the main stage videos, which are videoed in they're shown on the screens there at LA Comic Con. I can get those later, and sometimes LA Comic Con's been cool with me putting them up on the Geekscape TV YouTube channel, of which you should subscribe. To which you should subscribe, and then but usually in the panel rooms, I'm just bringing a recorder, plugging into the the board there that mixes the mics, and putting it all together. So that's audio only. Subscribe to Geekscape. It's there on Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, and share it with your friends if you enjoy it. Inferno is back. Did someone finally resuscitate Madeline Pryor's corpse? So in the late 80s, when I was really into the X-Men books, the first time I was into comics, I dipped, and then the Star Wars comics for Dark Horse brought me back. That's kind of one of my comic book origin stories. Like as a kid, you're into like the superhero stuff, and you're really into it. And then I don't know why I got into. I didn't really get out of comics. It just you couldn't afford them. Like I didn't have like like what is it? You're like your parents give you money or something like $1.50 for the spinner rack at the grocery store. I just didn't get into them. And then the Star Wars comics, I remember when Dark Horse started putting out Dark Empire, which are phenomenal. And to me, they're like the follow-up to Jedi. Like I know we have this brand new Disney canon. I know that we've had a lot of extended universe stuff in Star Wars, but the stuff that got me back into comic books after like 3 or 4 or 5 years, I would say now, going into high school or going into like late middle school. Middle school really is those Dark Empire books that Dark Horse put out. And if you can find them, I don't know if Marvel has the ability to publish them. I don't know who owns them, but you can probably find them on some downloadable PDF. But the Dark Empire comics, where Luke is kind of flirting with the dark side, and they also did a Palpatine clone in that storyline long before the sequel trilogy. I just spoiled it. I spoiled some of it for you, but it happens pretty early on. Find the Dark Empire comics because they got me back into comics. But prior to that, there was this storyline called Inferno, and it was an X-Men. And the storyline with Inferno was that Ilya Rasputin, who's Peter Rasputin, Colossus's sister, she gets kidnapped by Belasco, who's a demon. Belasco is also Nightcrawler's father, which is why Nightcrawler has a demon's tail. So she gets kidnapped, and she gets brought to this place called Inferno, which is like hell. And that's where her mutant powers come to life, and she ends up defeating Belasco and becoming like the ruler of this hell, Inferno. And that is Colossus's sister Ileana, who's like, she could turn into a demon and she can kick some ass and jump between Earth and in this hell. And she ended up giving the leadership of Inferno to Madeline Pryor, who is a clone of Jean Grey. And now this is turning some comic book shit. So knowing that you're a clone of Jean Grey, you love Scott Summers, Cyclops, but you're like spurned. You're like, I want to have Cyclops' baby, which ended up being Nate Summers, who turned into, Cable, because you saw him in Deadpool 2. Holy crap, I need a chart. Madeline Pryor has Scott Summers' baby, but she's a clone, and she wants to bring hell to New York. That was the Inferno storyline. It introduced Mr. Sinister, who is a big X-Men villain now. So the Clone Saga in the 90s introduced a Peter Parker clone. And that Clone Saga in the 90s is maligned. Like, people are like, oh, the Clone Saga. It went on too long and introduced a clone of Peter Parker. People started wondering whether or not Peter Parker was really the original Spider-Man, or if it was Ben Reilly, the other Spider-Man. Ben Reilly still exists in the books. He's a clone. Dark Web storyline, of which I'm a fan, going on right now in the Spider-Man and the X-Men books, is where Madeline Pryor is now back in charge of Limbo, turns to Ben Reilly and says, hey, you're a clone, I'm a clone. We didn't get what was deserved of what we deserve, which is I'm supposed to be with Scott Summers. You're supposed to be Spider-Man. F these people who took what was ours. We need to team up and we need to corrupt everything. And the first thing they're going to do is bring hell to New York. And that's what's going on right now in the Spider-Man and X-Men books. And I'm kind of digging it. I'm not saying you had to read the last 30 years of Marvel comics. You can just enjoy a comic. Go pick up a comic. They're comics. This isn't, comic books are beautiful because it's like, not, no offense, comic book creators, but it's not like heavy literature. Maybe they don't go pick up Watchmen or like too many Neil Gaiman books, like those you kind of want to spend some time with. But when it comes to like Spider-Man, X-Men, Dark Web, just pick the damn thing up and enjoy it. There's some really silly stuff. And in one of the most recent issues, Spider-Man teams up with Firestar and Iceman, and y'all who grew up with the cartoon Amazing Friends will know that is the team. That's like the team of the cartoon Amazing Friends, which was like the one that Stan Lee narrated in like the early 80s. Spider-Man and his Amazing Friends. It was him, Iceman, and Firestar, and they put the team in the comic. And at the end of like the team up, when they save like New York from this, whatever, it's been turned into hell. Spider-Man flies away. Is like, we should do this again sometimes. Bye, my amazing friends. And the people who know, which you do now, are like, oh, that was a childhood reference. Awesome. Way to make content for 40-year-old people. Yeah, that's what Geekscape's all about. All right. Awesome, radical. All right. Jim Puckernelli's up in the Geekscape. He says, Mr. Sinister in hindsight is a deeply squeaky villain. He's literally trying to breed mutants together like livestock. Yeah, and I went down this deep dive about whether or not Gambit is a clone of Mr. Sinister. And I guess that's something people discuss, and it's a possibility. Whatever. Okay, so I can't get into the comments. If you're watching this live on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch, yeah, feel free to distract your host in the comments. But that's not what we're here for. We're here to talk about some more stuff. But damn, does it feel good to talk comics on Geekscape. It's kind of what it's for. I've been playing some video games too. Downloaded some really cool downloadable, like older games for my Switch, thinking I was going to take it to Thailand. I did not take it to Thailand. I took an actual book, like a real book, to Thailand, and I read that. But I did download some really cool stuff like Hollow Knight, which I'd never played. And then if you like Metroidvania games with cool boss battles, play Hollow Knight. All right, that's enough. That's enough of that, Jonathan. Enough. Let's bring in Matt Kelly. And Matt, did you enjoy the geek talk that was going on here on Geekscape?
It's been a long time, John. Long time since there was like a deep dive comics talk, which is it's a good and bad thing, I guess, because every time you would talk about comics a lot on Geekscape, I would get a new $50 a week habit for a little bit, and then because you always would sell me on these books, and I'd be like, I need comics. So the fact that I'm like fully self-employed right now, I don't need the desire to go out and subscribe for a bunch of books right now. So this
Hey, brother, I've been doing these things on the TikTok. You actually got me on TikTok.
I did.
At Comic-Con, you got me on the TikTok. And I'm thinking to myself, like, what's the content to put on the TikTok? Because, I'm like 44 years old now, if you can believe it. I was in my like mid-20s when I started Geekscape. Now I'm 44 years old. What about business do I have to be on the Tickety Talk? What can I be making for this? And sometimes I put like old stuff from Geekscape on TikTok. That's been kind of fun to go back to the archives and put some stuff on there. But I've been doing these comics of the week where I just basically tell you what comics I bought that week. And it's been a fun way for me to create very fast content for the Tickety Talk, and also to kind of catalog for myself. Like, dude, what are you reading? What are you buying? And what are you enjoying? And I got to tell you, Spider-Man Dark Web.
Yeah. All right. I'll keep that in mind. Hopefully this time next year, I'll be ready to get back into that very expensive habit.
Pace yourself. Matt, I got to tell you, I went to this Thailand for my honeymoon.
I thought you were just going to say I went on this honeymoon.
No, I went on this honeymoon.
Real casual.
We went to this country, Thailand, and man, it was phenomenal. What a beautiful country! What an incredible country! And for somebody who's watching the pocketbook, it's cheap, man. Like the flight there, not so cheap. Flying through Singapore out of LA, Singapore is like basically a mall / airport. It's kind of cool, but I was consistently shocked every time I got a bill and did the exchange rate in like either an app or in my brain, just knowing what the exchange is on the Thai baht versus the dollar. And I'm like, yo, we just paid $12 for lunch. And like this is insane. Like a lunch that would have cost you $40-$50, like, or a dinner that would have cost you $40-$50. Like I literally just paid like $3 for street food that was really damn good. Didn't get me sick, knock on wood, and was like $3. Incredible. And you could live like a king over there.
You can sometimes live like a king if you're living in the right places. If
It's
you're
called
going to talk
standards,
about,
Matthew. It's called
let me
standards.
show you. Let me show you something that I purchased literally for a New Year's Eve party that cost me $15.
And I'll tell you whether or not a king would have that.
Look at this stromboli that I bought for $15. That's a large cheese stromboli. You
Matt,
just have to know the places to find.
no, Matt. I'm not paying $15 for a stromboli.
A large stromboli that fed a whole party.
Listen, Matt,
that fed a party of people.
That would have been $2 in Thailand, is what I'm telling you.
Okay, gotcha. All
that
right.
would have been $2 in Thailand. And
why are you going to Thailand to buy a $2 stromboli, you weirdo?
Well, that's what I'm saying. You go to Thailand, you buy a bunch of stuff, and I did buy a bunch of stuff.
You enjoying this Abbott and Costello routine?
I bought a bat. I bought like this. I bought a hat with like Thai kickboxers on it. I went snorkeling. I got myself a tan. We had so much fun, and I got to tell you, I almost bought rabies shots.
Ooh, almost.
Yeah, I almost bought rabies shots. So I wanted to see. The whole reason Thailand came up was Heidi wanted to see elephants, and there was this elephant like sanctuary, and it was phenomenal. We went there on the first day there in Phuket, and these elephants are treated so poorly in the tourism industry that this sanctuary purchases them, rescues them from these places where people ride them, or they take these hooks and they put them in their hands and they hook them on the elephant's ears. So whenever you see like a cute video of like an elephant painting something, watch the trainer, because they have their hands behind the elephant's ears and they actually are digging into their ears with these turned nails, and they're manipulating the elephants through pain. And so we go to this sanctuary where you don't get within 6 feet of an elephant, and they have these elevated walkways where you can walk above them. They do take you down near the elephants, and the elephants, a lot of them are blind from like having too much time spent with like flash photography, or their working conditions being too much. A lot of them are crippled. They walk a little slowly. These are retired elephants, but now they got to do nothing but eat and swim. Now these elephants are living
life. I was gonna say, were you in Philly when they got rid of the elephants in the Philadelphia Zoo because of
it's too much, right?
Well, it was the cement. They were standing up there like their ankles were like not able to handle the cement ground.
They have leg problems, knee problems.
Yeah, it's fucked up what we do with elephants, honestly.
If you're listening to this and you love animals, there's a movie I watched on Amazon last night with Heidi. We watched this Wildcat movie about a kid who came out of he's a British soldier in Afghanistan, and he came out with PTSD, and he moved to the Peruvian Amazon, and he ended up raising an ocelot, like a wild ocelot that was rescued by loggers. And he ends up they end up rehabilitating each other in a sense, because this ocelot doesn't have a mother, doesn't have a way to like learn to live wild. And so he's like, okay, over 18 months, I'm going to teach this thing to be living on its own in a freaking one of the most dangerous places in the world for an animal, which is this Peruvian Amazon, where everything's a poisonous snake. And then this kid with PTSD and suicidal tendencies, so trigger warning on that stuff. He does self-harm in the movie, and you watch it, and it's hard. And it's like him and this cat learning to live with learning to appreciate. They're just learning to survive in this Peruvian. It's beautiful, and it's called Wildcat. That one.
I've seen a documentary that was a similar plot line called a Grizzly Man.
Grizzly Man. No, that one didn't end up. that one didn't end so well. That one
so great.
No, I think different type of. Yeah, this kid had PTSD. That guy just had. I don't know what that guy had, but he got eaten. Spoiler: he got eaten by a bear. And if you want to hear more about it, we definitely had the producers of Grizzly Man on the podcast about a year or two ago
for the Grizzly Man Diaries. They did like the docu-series about it. But yeah,
so we're walking with these elephants, and there's one that is actually nice, like actually likes people, it likes people. And I was like, I'm not going near it, but some people are going up very close to it, and it would turn their heads to touch them. And so I was like, I'll get close-ish for a photo, and
Mhm.
Heidi can take this photo. And as I turn to take the photo, I'm like, all right, that's nice enough. And I turn, and the elephant steps in front of me, like, oh, you ain't going anywhere.
Oh.
And it's an elephant, and behind me a creek bed. And I was like, I got nowhere to go, and I don't know if I'm supposed to touch this animal. Like, and the animal's like, no, you're gonna touch me. And this elephant was beautiful, and the handler was like, the guide was like, please, like, touch the elephant. And so I reach out and I touch this elephant. It was such a sweet moment that it set me up for the next visit, which was to a place called Monkey Hill. Heidi wanted to see elephants. I wanted to see monkeys. Um, and so I take her to this place called Monkey Hill, which is like if Griffith Park, or like a public park, was covered in like maquette monkeys. And I don't know what's got you laughing at.
I'm thinking about the idea. So I know where this story is going because I've
This
seen the
hill
video.
is covered in
I'm
monkeys.
What
These
I'm laughing
macaque
at is that
monkeys, macaque monkeys.
Heidi's only thing that she wanted was to see an elephant, and you had this beautiful moment between human and animal with this elephant, and then you're
I
like,
had a
"All
connection.
right, babe, let's go see the monkeys.
Let's go see some monkeys." It
And
reminds me
the
of that.
monkeys
It's
tried
the
to
state.
the monkeys
Let's
tried
see,
to
remember the
murder
state?
her.
Yeah. Okay. So the state. Remember the state sketch? Let's go to the zoo and watch the monkeys do it. So
Yeah.
so I tell the taxi driver, I'm like, hey, take us to this Monkey Hill. And it's literally a hill like Griffith Park covered in monkeys. And I get out and I'm like, okay, let's do this. And there's a feeding area. There's an area where you can feed the monkeys. They tell you not to feed the monkeys outside of this feeding area. And they post up some of the most disgusting photos of people who've been bit. You see these pictures, you're like, I don't want to get bit by a damn monkey, because they can give you fucking all sorts of shit. They can give you like herpes and rabies and all sorts of stuff. And you see these photos of people with like these bulbous sores on their faces who've been bit or like whatever. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna feed the monkeys in the monkey area. The problem is the feed the monkey area is at the top of the damn hill. To walk to the top of the hill, you got to walk through a bunch of monkeys who are watching you hold these fucking little bananas, and they're like, "Yeah, give me them bananas." And I'm like, I'm not supposed to give you these bananas right now, man. And so we start walking, man, up this hill. And I'm stoked. I'm so excited. It's fun exercise walking a hill like that. And it's beautiful country. You can look out over Phuket and like all this area. And then I see a monkey come down. I'm seeing a couple stray dogs, but then I see a monkey, and the monkey's like, "What you got there?" And comes towards me. I'm like, "Okay, you know what? You're the first monkey. You're not getting anything from me." So I don't give nothing to that first monkey. He was cute. I took a photo of him. It'll be up on the Tickety Talk one. I'm gonna make a video of this. So I get a little further up the hill, and Heidi's like, "Jonathan, how much you saw a monkey? Can we just go?" And I'm like, no, we're seeing more. I get up there, and there's like, when in like the park where there's like gym equipment out in the park for people to use, like free gym equipment, like little like thing you can push your arms or like swivel your
not where I live,
hips.
but yes, I've seen it
You
in
know what I'm
Los
saying?
Angeles.
Yeah, these like public park gym equipments. So we get to the first one of those, covered in damn monkeys. The monkeys just start coming down from the jungle. They start coming
It's like
off the gym equipment.
arachnophobia, but with monkeys.
It's crazy. At that point, I'm thinking about that sign that had like the bulbous sores and the rabies on it, and I'm like, oh shit. I'm carrying these 2 bunches of mini bananas, and they're looking at me like it's a feeding frenzy. I'm thinking I'm like meat in a product. They just start coming towards me. I'm like, oh fuck this. So you're gonna watch this video of me chucking bananas away from me as fast as I can. Just go like, here you go, here you go. I'm trying to get these monkeys away from me. And now they're following me. Heidi has these leftover bubbles from our wedding. And she's like, maybe they like the bubbles. So she takes these things out and she starts blowing bubbles. And it's really adorable because the monkeys are like jumping at the bubbles. She's got monkeys following the bubbles. They reach for them. They don't get anything. They're like, what the hell just happened? They think it's like maybe dark magic. I don't know what that was going through the monkey's mind. But I just don't want to get bit by a damn monkey. I definitely don't want Heidi to get bit by a monkey. But I want to spend my time there. And they're not bothering really anybody else. There's like 3 other people who I saw walk past and hike to the top. And so we hike up, and there's this area with gym equipment, and there's tons of monkeys. At this point, Heidi's going to be like, hey, I'm not going any higher. And I'm like, well, I want to see the top. But let's hang here for a bit. Let's hang out with some monkeys. We take some monkey photos, some selfies. I'm taking video, and again, like it'll be up on the Geekscape TikTok. I'm taking a, I'm taking a video, and as I'm taking video of these monkeys kind of walking past Heidi, and Heidi trying to blow these bubbles, I see out of the corner of my eye a monkey start walking towards Heidi's bag, and is like, "What you got in there? You got any more of them nanners? You got any
And
more of those bananas?"
I have to give, I mean, for those of you who haven't met Heidi before, she is legitimately, if not the kindest human that I've ever met in my entire
Yes.
life, absolutely in the top 5. And nothing has been proven more so than watching this video with the monkeys, because I consider myself a pretty kind person. And I think I'd be like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Like,
Get away from me, you wild animal.
She's
And
just
she's
going,
like,
"Oh, no, 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 no." Like,
yeah, if there's any doubt that there's like that my wife is like a Disney princess, like it's like this is it, because like she, yeah, no, I'll post the video, but basically look what happens. I turn my face, and sorry Geekscapists who aren't watching this live, but here's just this is the photo of what I see, and I should have uploaded the video file so I could play it.
yeah, you could have. It was short enough. You could have definitely
It
gotten
was
that
short
loaded
enough,
up in
but
here.
like let me
But
show you this picture of a damn monkey. This is what I see out of the corner of my eye. This is a monkey with its teeth on Heidi's purse. Like, just the monkey has both
so
hands
relaxed.
on her bag, is like trying to grab Heidi, and is just like, whatever's in this bag, I'm fucking taking it. And so I'm like, oh hell no, because the next thing is it's gonna climb up on my wife, and I take my foot and I swing at the monkey like to kick it, and I go, "Hey, get off my wife! I'm about to kick you in the woods." The monkey turns and like squares up at me, like lunges at me, like, you wanna go? And I was like, oh fuck. This is what I guess this is where I get rabies. This is rabies. This is one ticket to rabies
I feel
town.
like rabies would have been the worst of your situations. There was enough monkeys that I think they could have taken you down.
Oh, the thing is, the second you kick fucking Ling Ling into the fucking woods, the rest of these damn things come at. Look at those. Look at the teeth on this damn thing.
Yeah, it was gonna be Congo.
It was going to be piranha, but
Yeah.
with monkeys. Like, forget it was just going to be a swarm of monkeys, and then they would have. Derp 501st on YouTube says you definitely should have recorded that content, man. No, I did. The thing is, this happened 2 more times, and I didn't record those because I wasn't like, oh, my wife's getting lunged at by monkeys. Let me because the thing is, don't go up that hill with a bag. That's what we learned. Don't go up the hill with a bag, because the monkeys are going to see it and they're going to want to get it. 2 more times monkeys went after Heidi, and these fuckers lunged at me when I tried to kick them. I wasn't really going to kick a monkey, okay, guys? I was just trying to create some distance with my legs. And so the only reason I have this on a photo of this and really video of this is a screen grab, is because I was filming another monkey when out of the corner of my eye, I see this bastard go for Heidi. But there is video of this, and I mean, if you want Geekscapists, I'll just, this is what I'll do. I'm gonna send myself the video, and then y'all, you know what, y'all are getting the video right now.
Get the video.
It's very
While
easy
you're
to
doing
find.
that, I will also compliment Heidi. Those look like the comfiest pants I've ever seen in my entire fucking life.
Dude,
And
the
they're also
amount of
embroidered with elephants, which John had a great experience with when you made him go see the elephants. He made you go see the monkeys. That was your situation there.
The elephants were phenomenal. These curious monkeys. Okay, here we go. I'm just gonna let's see if I can get this to work. Let me
load that up in there.
I'm gonna load it up. What do I do here, Matt? I upload a new video file, right? Video clips.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Add video clip. Sorry, Geekscape. It's a little behind the scenes. I should have been better prepped for this. But
Geekscape's one of those shows Matt Kelly doesn't produce. He's just an occasional guest. These would have been handled otherwise.
Matt's like, hey, maybe they'd be interested in that monkey clip. I'm like, they get a screen grab. No, the screen grab's clearly not good enough. Here's the problem, Matt. It's too big. It's too.
All
big
right. Well, then they'll just have to see it when it goes on the TikTok.
Okay.
But
yeah, I do want to share it.
But it is quality video. I mean, it's also kind of terrifying. I remember when you sent it to me, I was like, she does make this, right?
Yeah. She does end up not getting bit.
Right? I'm going to see Heidi again in my life. I just wanted to confirm.
Matt, let me see if I can share like quick. Chrome has lost permission to capture your screen. No, go away.
Yeah,
I really want to share this.
The
I'm
only other
trying.
option would be to do the present and then click video file, and you could upload the video file right in
That's
there.
what I want to do right now. I'm doing that
There
right
you
now.
go.
Video file. You guys are getting.
podcasting.com, folks. If you ever need a editor.
Here we go.
For your
Here we go.
You're just making
Geekscape, you're so excited. Here we go. All right, because my good friend Derpy 501st demanded it, and he is a good friend. I don't know who it is, but they're a good friend.
He's got a great icon, so I'll take it.
They got a great icon. Here we go. Here's the video of me defending my wife and almost getting rabies from this monkey. Okay, so I'm filming a pretty cute scene of just Heidi with the bubbles and the monkey. And look at that monkey. That monkey's like, I'm a sweet monkey. I got patience for this human. Human's gonna do a magic trick, an arcane trick. Music's yeah, but human's gonna create soap water circles. And there, but what she didn't see is behind her, there's this fucker who's like, I bet there's more of those bananas in her bag. So watch this. So I'm filming this night scene, and here we go.
You're just
All right,
making
here
mad.
she is. And that monkey kind of gets bored. It's
You're
like,
just
oh,
making mad, Sadie.
she can't get to do it.
Look at this guy.
They're not mad at me.
I'm just filming a little monkey.
It's very disappointing.
Nice monkey. Out of the corner of my eye, look what I see.
Whoa.
Baby,
All
there's
right.
not.
All right. Leave my wife alone. I'm going to kick you into the forest. This is where I kick at him.
There's no food.
Look at him.
Yeah,
Did you see him
he was
square
ready
up
to
and do
go.
that?
He was ready to
Food,
go.
I don't have
He's like-
anything. I'm
I was like, I
sorry.
don't have any food. This fucker's like, you guys are dead. Okay, watch this,
Again-
Matt. Like, okay, first off, I'm taking this screenshot, screen by screen. You see my foot come in, and I say, hey, I'm gonna kick you into the forest. That's where. Look at him right there. Look at that screenshot. That's him lunging at me.
That's the Monkey Shines box art.
That's the fucking monkey squared up on me, and it's just like, let's go. I've taken out people. You think I haven't taken people out? We're going right now. We're doing this, dude. This fucking monkey. Look at that. Look at him, little bastard. That's it. So that was me almost getting rabies on the walk down the hill. We were telling anybody with a bag, like, hey, you may not want to bring a bag. We saw somebody with like 2 kids. We're like, don't bring the kids, man. Your kid's gonna get eaten by monkeys. And there's this one woman and young girl, and she's coming up the hill, and we said, hey, just warn you, you probably don't want to bring a bag. And she goes, a monkey just took my water bottle. Yeah, you think I don't have video? 2 seconds later, I saw the monkey drinking a water bottle, giving no fucks. Like, this monkey was like, yeah, I took the water bottle. Who gives a damn? Whatever. This monkey was just chilling.
Fucking
Loved
buck
it.
wild.
Loved
Insane.
Loved it.
You are a crazy man, Jonathan.
It was a great trip. I
It seemed like, I mean, we got the updates throughout the week, and only a
was
few of
awesome.
us told you to spend time with your wife and stop texting us. But
listen, I loved waking up, seeing the sunrise, going on a run, texting my boys back in the States, and then coming back and having breakfast. Trust me, I had time to text with y'all, and Heidi got her sleep. Not that she didn't sleep a lot. It's just I don't sleep normal hours. I see a lot.
man. You enjoy it and you take it at the pace that you want to take it.
I loved it. There was another when we were on this island chain. Oh, this kind of the Fifi Islands. There was this other town you could run to and back, and it was beautiful. But it's a fucking jungle, Matt. Make no mistakes. That island chain is jungle, and they had a monkey beach too, and I saw some monkeys there. But we had these mosquito nets in this little bungalow that we stayed in. A 5-star resort, mosquito nets. I'm getting eaten alive by mosquitoes, and they're these centipedes, Matt. 100-foot. They have 100 legs on them. 150 pairs of legs. These centipedes. The locals, they called them ginkgo. These little centipedes. I see them everywhere. During the rainy, usually they're underground, but during the rainy season, they come out.
Yeah,
right? Because
they're like earthworms here or whatever. Yeah.
Earthworms, right? But these are centipedes, and they're big. And I was like, okay, whatever. Like, I'm going to bed, and the mosquito nets are keeping the mosquitoes out. These ginkgo aren't going to get me. Second night I'm there, like 2 a.m. I feel something fall on my face. Wakes me up. And I snore with my sleep apnea, my mouth wide open. This thing, Matt, lands. This is what wakes me up, is just this thing laying on my face. Just lands like right on my cheek, half in my mouth. And I go, I don't know what the hell's happening. I'm dreaming 1 second. The next second, something's on my face. I'm like, what the fuck? Just landed on my face. I grab at it, and when I'm half awake, like I'm half asleep, and when I put my hand on it, it curls around my fingers like, and that's when I know it's Gengu.
Gengu.
This Gengu. And so it wraps around me, and in the half light of the bedroom, I go, oh, I know exactly what it is. I throw it under the bed, and I see it squirming like Gengu. And so I take the glass that's next to the bedside for water, and I scoop it up and I throw it onto the lawn. And you have to go outside to do it. I open the door, I throw it on the lawn, and I come back in. Heidi and I find 4 more Gengu on the mosquito netting waiting for you. Gengu. We asked the next night, we were like, okay, enough of the Gengu. We asked the people to come and like get the Gengu. They got 10 of these things out of our rooms. And then
Jesus.
I woke up at night. I wake up like 5 to go running, and there's still Gengu on my mosquito netting. You're gonna get the Gengu.
So let me.
Gengu.
This reminds me of the most nightmarish horror film that I've ever lived through, which is my friends and I. My aunt used to have a mountain house, and we would go up there in the summer for a week. And the one time it was just me and my friend Ed went up there the first night, and then people were going to come in later on that night. So we were staying up to let them in. And we're watching TV, and we see this caterpillar crawling across the carpet. We're like, look at this little guy. He got lost. So we pick him up, and I just toss him out the back door. Don't think anything of it. So my friend goes to bed, and I'm still staying up for a few people to show up. And they show up, and we're talking. I'm like, yeah, there was a caterpillar in here early. And they're like, why didn't you put it outside? I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, well, it's right here crawling across the carpet. There's this other caterpillar. So this time when I go to throw it outside, I flick on the patio light. And John, I'm telling you, there were about 700 caterpillars squirming across every inch of this deck, up the sides of the house, up the screen doors.
It's their planet, Matt.
I was like, man, I've never been this afraid of a caterpillar in my entire life. But I was like, they're going to cocoon us. We're not going to be able to escape.
You're gonna be like, you're gonna like what is it, Frodo and Shalob's lair? No, Bilbo. It was Shalob's lair. So I have no problem with the caterpillars or the centipedes. I got no problem with the bugs, the insects. That's not my thing. I have no problem with it. I didn't know what the hell landed on my face at 2 a.m. That freaked me the hell out.
Well, that's like,
but
going right in the.
We're in the jungle, and so I went and told the staff, and they were laughing their asses off that morning. We were having so much fun laughing about it. And as I'm joking with them about these caterpillars landing on my face, centipede landing on my face, this French family storms up to the office, and it's all open air. Like, this is a 5-star resort. It's basically just jungle, beach, and like bungalows, right? And this family is like, we have to move cabin. There are centipedes everywhere. This is no good. They did not like the Gengu. They did not enjoy it. It was face. It was fun. Andy Rattinger, who says you get things on your face in bed every night. Yeah, I mean, you hear those stories of like how many bugs you eat when you sleep and all that stuff. Whatever. I have no problem. It's all circle of life. It's all fun. Another highlight of the trip, Matt, was I love in-flight movies. And when you have a flight that's 17 hours, you're going to get some. And Heidi's calling them millipedes. I say they have 150 pairs of legs. That's a centipede, right?
Yeah, I think a millipede has
like 1,000. But what animal has 1,000 legs? Or whatever. I will not call it. It's not to me, it's not a centipede or a millipede. It's Gengu. So I'm watching these in-flight movies. Some are good, some are bad. Some I'm turning off after 5 minutes. I texted you and I said that this Clay Dream movie was amazing. This documentary is about the guy who like created the art. I don't want to spoil it for you, but he created the claymation studio in the 70s that in the 80s became responsible for the California Raisins, the Noid. At that point, I was like, Matt Kelly's got to know about this.
I remember what the fuck his name is.
Well, it's an easy Google.
It's Will Vinton, right?
It's Will Vinton.
Will Vinton, because I have the Will Vinton Claymation Christmas DVD.
Oh my God. Well, Matt, this documentary on Will Vinton, his career is
he's
fascinating, tragic, and because you love Jim Henson, Disney, all that stuff. I
Yeah.
think Will Vinton, but for his own, I want to call it hubris, would have ended up somewhere in that category, but didn't have the business sense. Like this guy, I mean, how he didn't have a piece of the California raisins is insane because that thing was huge.
Well, it sounds like something that you and I have talked about before with the only real difference between like a Charlie Chaplin and a Buster Keaton is the business sense of knowing how to keep your name in the public eye after you die, basically. Like Buster Keaton, I think was a more profitable silent film star throughout the career, but they were at the end of it, one was kind of penniless and a nobody, and I'm pretty sure Charlie Chaplin was the one that kept all of his like IP and everything. Like he owns all of those movies, or his estate does, or whatever.
He also got forced to like leave the United States.
I mean, that happened too.
I don't think either of them ended up like by the time they did Limelight, like I don't think either of them fared too well. But watch this.
I guess
watch
Howard
this
Lloyd is who I'm thinking of more so than anybody. Howard Lloyd like didn't keep shit.
Yes,
and, like,
Howard Lloyd didn't, but
like,
I mean, Charlie Chaplin created United Artists and was one of the highest paid performers of all time. If you watch this Clay Dream documentary, it's fantastic and just like insane. And every 10 minutes, I was like, "Oh, that he was responsible for that. Oh my God, he was responsible for that, and that's why we have this, and that came out of this. And oh my God, if he would have just taken a left when he took a right, dude would have been a billionaire." The other movie I saw, and I got to tell you, Geekscape, if you're not into this, if you're tired of Marvel, if you're tired of DC, and you're like, but I still want to watch a superhero movie, I got to tell you, man, I saw one of the greatest superhero movies of all time. Maybe. This thing, I'm just going to tell you right now, Samaritan. I got to tell you about the Samaritan, Matt. This is Sylvester Stallone doing like a straight to DVD superhero movie, and he's like this Samaritan movie. It's pretty badass. Like I watched it kind of as a goof. Like, okay, Stallone, let's see you do an indie superhero movie. He plays this trash man, right? Like he goes and collects dumpsters, and he's run down. The city's run down. It's overrun by crime. But 10, 15 years ago, there was a superhero called Samaritan, and he was badass, but he had a nemesis. Nemesis was called Nemesis, and they were twins. And these are two hero twins. One was a villain, one was a hero. The city loved Samaritan, and they hated Nemesis. And these bad guys, they would keep each other in check, right? But Samaritan would always win until Nemesis forged this hammer out of his own hatred, and it was the one thing that could hurt Samaritan. And then they had this showdown, and neither of them have been seen since. Flash forward 10, 15 years, Martin Starr runs a blog talking about like Samaritan sightings, and there's still a superhero out there, and maybe Samaritan's still among us. But the city's mainly moved on and lost hope and descended into chaos and crime, right? And then there's this kid who lives in these tenement houses, and one of his neighbors is this big guy who collects the trash. And the kid starts stalking him, being like, maybe he's Samaritan. And the kid, he's a little nerd. He gets his ticket punched every day, right? Like the bullies beat him up. And then one day this Samaritan saves his life, right? Or not Samaritan, this superhero guy in hiding. You know he's a superhero in hiding. Like it's Sylvester Stallone. The whole point of the damn movie, if this movie happened, it was just a damn guy who collects garbage after an whole time. Like, could you imagine?
Well, I can't wait. Here's what I was waiting for you. I was waiting for you to tell me that Stallone was Nemesis. That's what I was waiting for. But
Matt,
because it seemed too obvious he would be Samaritan.
Worst kept twist in any movie I've ever seen in my entire life. So the whole movie, this kid is like, "You're him. You're Samaritan," and a group of like a gang of bad guys in the movie, they've broken into a police holding like place where they keep evidence, and they've got the hammer. They've got Nemesis's hammer. So now they're using Nemesis's hammer to like wreak crime on the city and be like, "Yeah, we're a Nemesis gang. We love Nemesis." And now Samaritan has a reason to come back. And Sylvester Stallone, and I got to credit this movie. I liked it. I'm not gonna, you know what? Like I'm being cheeky with it. It's silly. But it's fun. And you watch this movie, you throw it up on your VOD. You're not gonna be disappointed with The Samaritan because it's silly. It's fun.
It sounds like
And-
a 90s in that
it's Steel,
before-
dude.
I was gonna say it feels like Steel. It feels
It's
like
Steel.
Dark Man. It feels like
No,
The
it's
Shadow,
like-
like in that
Matt,
era of like
hey,
90s
Matt.
action movie.
Matt, don't set yourself up for Dark Man, all right? It ain't Dark Man. Right? Like, listen. Okay, listen, Matt.
Okay, it's like
more
Dark Man
it's-
3.
Yeah, it's more Dark Man 3. It's Samaritan, man. Like it's so the Junk Man is
Are we-
Samaritan. Could
are
you
we gonna-
imagine? Could you imagine if this is a movie about a kid stalking a dude who like pulls garbage? And so
Here's
So
what I'm
at
hoping
the-
for,
so-
John. I don't want to cut you off, but I'm hoping that in 7 months we're at San Diego Comic-Con and we get video of Sylvester Stallone standing next to a guy dressed as Samaritan telling us about the
Oh, yeah.
costume release at the Party City. And
oh
shit.
yeah. Listen,
Like-
Sylvester Stallone, anybody involved in Samaritan, I don't care if you're an extra in Samaritan, I want you on the podcast. Like Geekscape is now the new home of Samaritan fans.
it's the #1 Samaritan fan site
yeah.
now.
Geekscape is the #1
It's our
Samaritan
rebrand
fan.
for 2020.
This is Geekscape. Surprise! Our big plans for 23. Geekscape is a Samaritan fan cast. All right, Samaritan sightings, Samaritan fandom, Samaritan fan art. Submit it to me, Jonathan at Geekscape.net. We're going all in on Samaritan. And yeah, 2 seconds into the movie, you're watching it and you're like, "Yo, he's Nemesis." You know what I mean? Like, so these bad guys are running around in these Nemesis masks, being like, "We're in charge now. Yeah, we're running the city." And they're such the bad guys from RoboCop 2
Okay.
that they even have arcade machines in their hideout. And you're like, "Yo, whoever made this movie had to be throwing shout outs to RoboCop 2, Ninja
Teenage
Turtles 2.
Yeah.
Like, when bad guys have arcade machines in their hideouts, like, let me tell you, I live in LA. Shane O'Hare thinks LA is crime ridden. If I go into I go to a lot of gang get-togethers. I go to a lot of criminal organization get-togethers. They have good parties. If I walk in there and they have a fucking arcade machine, I'm like, these guys ain't serious.
Yeah.
These guys ain't serious. Like they're
They got a
kind of
roller
12-year-olds.
skate. They got the skateboard ramp down there.
Yeah, they got a skateboard ramp. They got an arcade machine. They're a serious gang. They've
They're
got
usually
a
always
pinball
playing
machine.
that song that's like, "Oh no, we're in trouble." Someone's gone round
You walk
on a
in there,
first half bubble.
You're gonna end up like the kid in Back to the Future 2, who's like, it's a kid's game. Like, who the hell are they recording? What you got to do if you're a gang, like you got to recruit them with the tickety talks.
Yeah.
All right, you got to go with the kids are on the tick talk. All right, you got to go on the tick talk. Okay, you can't recruit an arcade machine. So that's these kind of guys, and you got to know that like when Sylvester Stallone, who's like, that's a different life, like that ain't me, and that ain't me. Even after the kid is like, no, dude, I found undisputed proof that you're fucking Samaritan. You just picked up a bus or whatever. He's like, okay, but leave me alone. I don't want to be a hero anymore. This and that. And so you got this showdown with the bad guy. He's like, you're a loser. You're nothing. You're not Nemesis. And he's like, he was like, you're not a good guy. You're a failure. He goes, you see Stallone in his moment, right? I'll spoil it for you because we're getting a sequel. Who cares? He goes, I hope we're getting a sequel. He goes, who said I'm the good guy? And you're like, oh shit, he's Nemesis. I called it the second he's on screen, he's Nemesis.
Yeah.
The only person who doesn't know he's Nemesis is this dumb kid running around. Listen, he's clearly Nemesis. And so that's the big twist. He was the bad guy, and he's got guilt because he killed his brother who was Samaritan. And so now he's got to come back as Samaritan for the sequel. It's tight. I gotta tell you, Geekscape, if you're tired of the Marvel, if you're tired of the DC, if you're done rewatching Steel 7 times, you got to watch the Samaritan's tight. So Sylvester Stallone, call me up. We got to find a way to make this Samaritan 3. We got to do it because
Hey, John, how much do you think the budget for Samaritan was?
Okay, hold on. Andy Radinger says there was a movie like that, Paper Tiger with David Niven. You know what? The difference between listen, this one's got Stallone. This is why Samaritan's tight. I gotta watch Paper Tiger though. I'll watch Paper Tiger, but Samaritan's my guy. Hey, do you think we can make Samaritan shirts for Comic-Con?
Maybe. Good news, everybody. Just checking on the wiki page here. This is dropping on DVD, Blu-ray, and 4K tomorrow. So,
Geekscapists, if you're listening to this, chances are you can watch your Samaritan right now.
Yeah,
enjoy it.
It was scheduled for a theatrical release on November 20th, 2020, December 11th, 2020, January, June 4th, 2021, and then was finally released on Amazon Prime on August 26th, 2022. John, it was a budget of $100 million that went into Samaritan. So I don't know if they're going to make that budget back, Matt, for a sequel on Prime.
You didn't let me play the guess the budget game.
Well,
because
you kept
I would have
been
been
all over the damn place.
Listen, I would have been like, Samaritan? That's got to be an Avatar numbers. Because this movie's tight. Like, okay, they shouldn't have spent 100. Listen, I want to see a Samaritan sequel. You can't be spending $100 million on.
Oh my God, this was from the director of Overlord.
Listen,
that movie was actually good.
Yeah, the World War II thing.
Yeah.
Listen, you can't be spending $100 million on Samaritan. All right, like this movie, you got to spend $20 million on Samaritan. Okay, spend $15 million on Samaritan. All right, and Sylvester, you gotta Sly. Can I call you Sly? Sly, you can't take too much money on the next one on the Samaritan. Like you got to put some of it in front of the screen. Like $100 million. Oh my God. Okay, well, go watch Samaritan. Enjoy it. Available probably now on VOD. Help us get a sequel.
That sequel will maybe come out in 20 years if it gets a cult following down the road.
Well, the cult following starts now with Geekscape, the Samaritan fan cast. Speaking of movies that cost $100 million or more, I went to see this movie, the Avatar 2, The Way of Water.
All right. How was it?
I got to tell you, that first Avatar movie is one that I think we all collectively like forgot about, right? Like, we went to see it, we enjoyed it.
I didn't even see it in theaters, which is definitely not the way to see Avatar. I just watched it on DVD, and I was like, "This is boring."
No, you got to watch it. You got to watch it on a big screen. Like I remember like going with Nora Williams and being like, "Oh, this is impressive. Like it's technically impressive. The story is not getting me."
It was just Ferngully.
Yeah, it's a lot of movies, and it's got like long stretches where he's just riding a horse and flying around, and it's fine. But the visuals are why you got to see this in the theater. You got to see it in 3D because other stuff may not stick with you, and that's my recollection of the first one, which obviously, like honestly, like people talked about it as the franchise that never happened. Avatar 2, The Way of Water, people are like, "Oh, this is gonna fail because nobody really cares about Avatar anymore." It clearly did not fail. It had a big ass blockbuster weekend, and it's still rocking. And I said, Heidi, like, we got to go see this in theaters. If we're gonna see this in our lifetime, we got to see it in theaters where it's impressive, and the 3D is awesome. And true on all counts, it is impressive. The 3D is awesome, and I actually enjoyed it more than the first Avatar. The story is good. This one involves their kids. It's it's kind of 10 years later, the same way that the first one was 10 years plus ago. It was 12 years ago. Like this one is same kind of distance, but now they're surviving on Pandora, and you see the family, and it's the same characters, but now it's a bigger cast, which sometimes works against the story because it does cover a lot of characters, and they each have their own narratives. But I think James Cameron does it in such a clear way, and he does lean on enough conventions where it doesn't take a whole lot to get who these characters are. The thing is, they are all blue, so you are going to take some time to familiarize yourselves with what they look like in their own little details so that you can tell them apart. The voice cast, I want to call them voice cast, but they're not voice cast. They're actually in there doing motion capture. Everybody's doing a great job. The movie's fun. It's long. You're going to feel it. You're going to feel how long this movie is. The end action sequence alone is at least 45 minutes long. And it goes through, I mean, it feels like you're going through multiple boss battles in this thing, and people just won't die. Didn't help that my contact popped out, and I'm fighting it for 30 minutes. But I'm watching it with like one of my eyes covered, but obviously like the lenticular lenses, it's fine. I liked it. I'm a fan of Avatar 2. Bring on Avatar 3 in 2 years. Bring me more Avatars. I was somebody who wasn't a cynic because you never bet against James Cameron. The first one I thought I appreciated, didn't need to see it again. This one I actually really enjoyed. Don't necessarily need to see it again, but I dug it, man. Avatar 2: Way of Water is fun. It's worth seeing, and you got to see it in theaters. If you don't see it in theaters,
But
if you're gonna watch something at home, you're gonna watch Samaritan. Can I say
Yeah.
that?
no,
Well, if
I
you're
think
gonna-
that's fair.
listen,
Well, you have no other choice.
You don't
It's
have a
not
choice.
available anywhere.
do not watch Avatar. do not watch do not watch Avatar: The Way of Water at home. You're gonna want to watch it in 3D in theaters, the way it's intended.
I don't. I mean, if I see it, I'll see it in theaters. But I think that there's something that bothers me about like a movie that is receiving praise, but you can only enjoy it under extremely specific circumstances.
Like VOD, Samaritan.
Yeah, like it's like it has. Yeah, exactly. You can only enjoy Samaritan under the specific circumstances of stoned on your couch.
Yeah.
But I mean, I would say that the same thing with like when someone's like, "Well, this movie's great when you're high." I'm like, then is the movie truly great?
No.
Like it's like if the movie's only enjoyable if you pay the money to see it in 3D in a theater, and then the second that it's released on home video, all of the appeal is gone. Like that's questionable to me. And that was my problem with the first Avatar, was that I felt like it was more about the spectacle of the 3D than the actual plotting and script and story beats.
And the first one, for the most part, was.
Yeah.
But and they showed the first one. The first one was an option on the plane, and I was like, "That's definitely not a movie I want to see on the plane." I'm watching Samaritan. I'll watch Samaritan again. But Avatar 2, I think you would enjoy it away from the theater. I think it doesn't need the 3D. But you know what? It's out in 3D. Go enjoy the damn 3D. It's fun. Like
I got these obnoxious things on my face that are the anti 3D fun factors.
Matt, you got to figure it out because it's fun to watch in 3D. Yes, James Cameron does have multiple sequences in the movie where he's just flying around or floating around underwater or just doing his fun sequence where you're just watching the cool stuff.
So it's 75% an actual movie and 25% like a amusement park 3D ride.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that you would be like, there's a lot of stuff that feels like padding, but the characters are enjoying it. You're getting to know the characters. The majority of the cast are the kids, the young actors who all do an awesome job. And it's fun to see them explore new areas and like go underwater or fly around and kind of explore the world and discover things. And they're definitely going to be carrying a lot of the next couple movies. Not saying anybody dies. This is that. Like, don't go. Like, I went in thinking things were going to happen. They did not happen. And that's good. James Cameron can still surprise you. He's still rocking it, even though the criticisms of him, like, okay, whatever. Don't bet against James Cameron. These movies are good. They're fun. But
he's got to be the person that has had the most massive blockbusters on films that were greatly predicted to be box office
bombs.
Like
dude,
Titanic, they thought was going to crash. Yeah.
Destroy it. And so you gotta watch this if you're gonna watch it. And I don't mean to tub thump too much for like a massive billionaire business like Disney, but watch it in theaters because you're going to enjoy it and you won't get as much out of it at home or on a smaller screen, but you will still enjoy it. I think this is a fun movie. And again, that end action sequence is 45 minutes long. It's impressive. This movie is really damn impressive. Watch it. A movie that you should have been able to continue watching in theaters, but you couldn't because it was removed from theaters, was this Netflix Glass Onion. I listened to the director talk to Mark Maron, and I could not believe that this Knives Out Glass Onion, nobody could believe that it didn't continue to get the theatrical run because it was doing box office. It was doing business, and that just wasn't Netflix's plan.
So Netflix is baffling to me in the way that they do anything right now. So I'm producing a new podcast that's actually not for the Geekscape network called Alyssa Explains It All. And it's hosted by Alyssa Lube from The Circle season 4. And she told me a story that when they were done finishing filming this reality show, which at the time was one of the more popular Netflix reality shows, an executive at Netflix was like, well, just, keep your expectations normal because you're going to be the first Circle season that's not the number one most watched TV show on Netflix when it drops, because we're putting you out the same day as the Ozark finale.
Mm.
And she was just like, why? like,
You don't have to.
You don't, and they just do these decisions where it's like, hey, I know that we're making a lot of box office money at a time where no one's making money at the box office, but we want to get these people sitting at home watching Netflix. And I can tell you that I enjoyed Glass Onion, and I would have enjoyed Glass Onion more in a theater, because I watched Glass Onion in my parents' living room, and the Kelly family is able to make a 2.5-hour movie into a 4-hour experience with 2 intermissions for phone calls and bathroom breaks. And it was just, I mean, it really stretched out the mystery. But
What's going on with that prostate is like a brand new storyline of the Glass Onion.
Jesus, it really is.
In the Matt Kelly household, Knives Out Glass Onion is Knives Out too many onions.
Too many onions. But Glass Onion was good. I liked it. But I think the original Knives Out was a better mystery. It was a little bit better paced, but I mean, just look at the cast in this picture. Like, every one of these people is bringing their A game. And Dave Bautista, I remember reading an article that was saying, like, Dave Bautista is, without any competition, the greatest wrestler turned actor of all time, because man, does he take risks on the roles that he does. Like,
you don't
he
think
doesn't
Suburban
just
Commando is a risk?
No. I mean, it was such a risk that Sylvester Stallone said, "Nah, I'm good," and then Arnold said, "Nah, I'm good." But Mr. I'm going bankrupt on my Hulkamania pasta restaurant in Mall of America was like, sign me up. But
The Undertaker
no, like,
plays
you
a
look
bounty
at Dave
hunter in that one.
Bautista's roles, like, he really does do the Guardians of the Galaxy action movies, but then he'll do something like this where he's like a right-wing Twitch streamer that's like a psychopath, like, or he'll do.
I want to see it. I have not seen the Glass Onion. I was too busy fighting monkeys.
Yeah, and I'm not going to say anything about the plot lines, but it is fun. It probably could have been 2 hours as opposed to 2.5 hours. There's a lot that could be removed, and I don't think with Knives Out, I was constantly guessing who was the person behind the crime, and in this one, I pretty quickly was like, I'm pretty sure it's this, and for this reason. But I also watched Knives Out with my dad because he had never seen it the day before, so my brain was already fresh in that, like, Agatha Christie, like, how are these framed to misdirect. So I don't know if someone going into it not already in the, like, I'm going to be misdirected and thrown a million red herrings would look at it. But I was like on high alert the whole
Everybody
movie.
I know who saw this in the theater loved it. And Ryan was saying that, like, you just go for the ride, and if you look too into it, it's gonna fall apart. Like, just go for the ride, enjoy it, and the whodunit aspect of it, which for me made the first Knives Out not as enjoyable, because I called it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I think I know what's going on here. I think you got to put that part of your brain away and just say, I'm here for a ride. I'm here to see these characters live, like, bounce off of each other. They're all loud. They're all different. Let's shake them up. Let's see how this works. I think that's the thing that I wish I'd felt it in the first Knives Out. I wish I would have told myself to just enjoy it instead of being predicting what's going to happen. And so I'm going to go into this Glass Onion just letting the performances and letting the crazy work its way out.
Let me ask you a quick question. Because God knows I've been posting these all week, but, like, did you have like a top 3 or top 5 films this year? You saw way more than I did.
Yeah, I have a couple top films, but the number one is the one that nobody saw, the George Miller movie, 3,000 Years of Longing.
Okay.
This is Idris Elba as a freaking genie, and I can understand, like, if people are like, I don't know if I want to see Tilda Swinton and Idris Elba as a genie, but it is an Arabian Nights style story where Tilda Swinton, her husband left her, but she's an academic. She goes around the world speaking about ancient cultures, and she's in but it was like Mesopotamia, but she finds it was Arabia back in the day, and she finds in like a shop, she finds this lamp, and she brings it back to the hotel room, and she's like, oh, it's just a trinket, whatever. And she ends up rubbing the damn thing, and Idris Elba fills the room up. He's a giant genie. He's a gene. What are they called?
A jinn.
A jinn. He's a jinn, and he's like, hi, you rubbed my lamp. I've been in that for a very long time. You know how this works, 3 wishes. And she says, well, I also know as an academic how this works. Every single story about a jinn has been a warning story, and I don't want to go out like that. Why don't you tell me how you got in the, like, what put you in the damn lamp? And he goes, well, for that, let me tell you the stories of the times that I ended up back in the lamp. And the jinn, Idris Elba's character, takes her through, it's almost like a bunch of short stories, like an anthology of the times that he got put in this lamp as a jinn. And the two of them develop this relationship because she's very hesitant to ask for any of her wishes. She claims to be happy where she is, but as they get to know each other, she starts to open up about things like being left by her husband and the lives that she didn't live, and how much satisfaction she's actually getting as an academic and living that side of life, reading about life instead of living life. And it's a beautiful story because there's a jinn, he's lived for thousands of years and he's lived many lives. And so that story was awesome. It's George Miller. You got to buy a ticket to every time George Miller has a movie in theaters, because visually, well, I don't have to sell you on them. Like that last Mad Max movie, Fury Road, was incredible. It
I didn't
just
even know this
wasn't
movie was
marketed
coming
right.
out until you even posted about it. I had no clue it existed.
The movie came out, it was like dumped in like August or September. It was out for a weekend. It was fantastic and visually beautiful. The story is so well written, and that's what the movie is about. And it kind of has a wonky act structure. Did I care? No. Did it get long? No. I think it's a 2-hour movie. It's a beautiful movie, and 3,000 Years of Longing. It is two people who are longing for different things. Do they find them in each other? You got to watch the movie to find out. That was my favorite movie of the year. Second would be Triple R.
I was going to say, you've been praising Triple R for a while.
Triple R is fantastic. And Andy Rattinger and I went to see a screening of it I'd already seen the movie, but we went to see it on the big screen. And I thought the people were going to pull the seats out and start flipping them at each other and like fighting and stuff. There were people in costume. It's a Tagaliwood movie, which is a side set of Bollywood cinema. And there were Tagali people in the theater. Half of the theater was Tagali or Bollywood. And they were loving it. They start dancing during the dance sequences. They start freaking out. It was awesome.
So you were so like a Rocky Horror Picture Show.
It was a Rocky Horror style thing. It was so
amazing.
Much fun. It was crazy, fully interactive experience, and I love that movie. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I
didn't see that many new movies this year. I threw Weird, the Al Yankovic story, as my number one. I think that
I
film
heard it's great.
A fucking blast. No, what's one that when I was putting together my list for my Facebook, I was doing every day. It was a different top 10 between Christmas and New Year's. It came out so early that I haven't seen anyone else put it on their top 10 list really, but Chippendale Rescue Rangers was such a fun, like an
so
unexpectedly fun ride. And I am going to take a quick second to promote for a friend. There was a film called the WNUF Halloween Special maybe 10 years ago that came out. And I'm not sure if you've ever seen this, but it was this filmmaker from Baltimore. And his idea was that he hated found footage movies, but he was going to make a found footage movie that fixed all of the things that he hated about found footage movies. So he sat down and he wrote all of his complaints about found footage movies. Like, why do they keep filming? How did someone take the time to edit this together? Like all the logical things that didn't make sense.
Is this about me filming the monkey attacking my wife?
Basically, no.
The only reason I was filming was another monkey. Two more monkeys attacked. I did not film that.
This is for the courts to decide, not me. Okay. But he made this movie, and the whole film is a VHS tape that someone taped off the news in the 80s, and it's like a Geraldo Rivero like going into a haunted house special.
You told me about that.
And it's got fake commercials like in between every ad break, and like the tape it's supposed to be like the parents hit record and went to bed, so you have to watch like 30 minutes of news before you get to like the actual Halloween special, but all of those news stories tie into the twists and turns that happen like later
Matt,
on in the movie.
Where can I find this?
This is on Shudder. The structure of it's brilliant, but this year he released the long-awaited sequel, the Out There Mega Halloween tape. So that one took place in the 80s, so it was all satanic panic and everything like that. This one, it's like alien autopsy. It's like an alien autopsy video. But it not only is it hilarious and it captures like the 90s stuff so well, but he hired Scott from Horror Movie Night to compose some of the music in it. So like Scott wrote like a fake Power Rangers show theme song for like one of the ad breaks of like advertising.
This is fantastic. Are they both on Shudder?
I think they are. I know for a fact that WNUF is, but they're like these nice like 70-minute, like the Geekscape fans will absolutely fucking eat this shit up because it's
the
just
movies
like
are 70 minutes long.
Yeah, they're super short.
Perfect.
They're super fun. They have like nice twists and turns, but holy shit, it is so funny and captures this like you get commercials for like monster ballads. It's like these like fake
don't spoil
80s
this.
rock songs. You'll love it. You'll be all in on it.
Okay, I've promoted so many Shudder films throughout the year on the show that like I'm gonna hit him up and be like, "Yo, can we have this boy on the podcast?
I can get you this boy."
No. I want Shudder to know
that this guy deserves better.
They got Geekscape, and the Horror Movie Night guys should be doing more stuff for these Shudder folks. Shudder, you hear me?
Yeah.
Enough of this. All right. Well, who do you come to promote your stuff every single time? Who like has people on the podcast? Geekscape. All right. Throw us about. Have these boys. What else they got to do? Matt Kelly, Scott. Like what else they got to do? They want to talk about horror movies.
We would cost 10 times less than what you're paying Joe Bob. We'll bring the same level of entertainment.
Listen, I like Joe Bob. You leave.
I do too.
You leave.
Look, we won't bring any of the gravitas or viewership, but we'll bring a lower price tag.
Hey, you want 7 followers? Hey, I can tweet it out to 3 people. You hire us, and my uncle will watch. Matt Kelly, listen. The
Matt Kelly quote of the century.
That is whenever you're talking about, and I've started to say it. Listen, it's been great having you on, man. Congrats again on the end of the year charity live stream.
I'm planning next year's on Saturday. So
and phenomenal job to all the podcasters. I know I do some jocular ribbing to each of y'all, but I'm proud of everybody. I think the shows are doing great, and it warms my heart and crushes my heart at the same time when I log in to see our numbers, and the Geekscape flagship show is 3rd in our rankings, behind Horror Movie Night. Those boys have been at it a while and they deserve it. I love them very much, and they're a great show if you're into horror movies or just 3 friends finding their ways through life together. Listen to Horror Movie Night. Christmas 365 is a juggernaut.
This year was insane. Dylan
October,
and I were
November, December.
Yeah.
Like I just saw these numbers grow and blow, and I was like, you know what I got to do? I got to start wearing a Sino suit on Geekscape.
Instead, you went on a honeymoon. You're like, you know what? I'm just running. I'm running for 2 weeks. I'm disappeared.
What I should have done was I mean, listen, this Dylan guy, where did you find him? Because he's smart. I like this Dylan guy.
Met him at a monster convention.
Listen,
Monster Mania. He was a horror movie night kid first.
You got to find some more monster conventions to go to. Because no, you don't. So that's the one thing you don't need to do in 2023. You go to
I can announce something pretty cool though, John.
He's got it together because this Christmas 365. Enough with it. I don't like my self-esteem can't take logging into the back end, seeing the numbers, and just being crushed like that. Like Christmas 365's numbers have just been incredible. So
watch out, weird algorithms coming for you too.
The $2 late fee guys are on my heels. Weird algorithms is keeping pace with me. Like I love it. So Geekscape is like, I know I can joke about, oh, that was a bad idea for a podcast. Listen, I only joke. It was not a bad idea for a podcast. Matt's in charge of the podcasts. He can put up whatever he wants. And I was wrong. I didn't really say anything. It was Christmas 365. At any point I like, don't put that up? No. I said, do it. Let's see how it does. And it did great. And it
did amazing.
So and that's keep making stuff.
The way I say it is that Geekscape is a giant sandbox, and there is room for every single person that wants to play. As long as they have a kind heart and a creative drive, we've got space for you in the sandbox. Let's create. Like, let's just
let me
who
have the
cares?
twisted heart. There's
Yeah.
one twisted heart here.
There might be one
This
person
guy.
who kicks over a couple sandcastles on his way through
That's me.
but but he doesn't mean to. He thinks that he's being friendly.
Listen, his contact's popping out. 30 minutes left in Avatar 2. He can't see where he's going. That's this guy.
Yeah, he
And
was just stumbling out of his
he's
screening.
stumbling like, I gotta put my contact back in. These Navi are flying everywhere. Like, amazing job, everybody. Christmas
But I-
365 and the rest of the crew. $2 late fee kids who I got to hang with at LA Comic Con. Like, amazing job. And the numbers are showing it.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
it's
we're
incredible.
killing it. Geekscape is
Matt
growing,
Milligan
baby.
and the boys, great job.
Something that's kind of cool that's happening in 2023. I haven't even told you this yet. On March 17th,
He's having a baby.
Now on March 17th to the 19th, Horror Movie Night will be at a convention in Gettysburg called Creature Feature Weekend, and we'll be probably recording our 400th episode live at that convention. But B, I was asked to do the Q&A with one Doug Jones during that convention.
No, listen, he's rude. Here's the thing people don't know about Doug Jones.
Meanest man in the biz.
He is not a nice guy. He is very cruel. He is not sincere at all. This guy, listen, he's more like the fawn in Pan's Labyrinth than the actual no. Doug Jones is phenomenal. Nicest person.
One of the
in my
nicest.
life.
That's
Incredible.
As
What a
soon as it was
sweetheart.
announced, I texted the guy who runs it. I'm like, listen, I know Doug, and I will get Doug to open up in a way that you grabbing some rando will not be able to get
Doug
to
is
open up.
beautiful. What a beautiful human being. That's great. I'm excited about that. Now, let's talk
stoked.
business. How many
All right.
Dylans do you think you can pull out of that convention for us?
Well,
Can you come back from Gettysburg?
with like 5
With
more Dylans to throw into the
Matt, come back with 17 Dylans or don't come
17
back at all.
Dylans, each with
Can
their
we-
own individual podcast. We do have
Yeah,
a
yeah.
new show added to the Geekscape network while you were gone.
Well, I was gone 20 minutes ago. Like when
when you were on your honeymoon, we did launch so first of all, we brought in 2 shows that I've been friends with for a long time, Fright School and the Jersey Ghouls.
I love
Both
those
joined
guys.
the ranks.
I love them.
But now Joe from Fright School and myself have joined forces, and we're doing a podcast called White People Problems, an OC podcast.
you're
The
not.
OC is Joe's favorite podcast or favorite TV show. I've never seen a single second of it.
You're not
So he's
doing
having
that.
me watch it, and
No.
we've gotten some pretty cool guests so far. We've got some more cool guests on the horizon. I've got
Hold
some
on.
cool guests
No.
coming up on Weird Algorithm. We just
Stop.
I can't announce them right now, but subscribe to everything. Just type in Geekscape on any podcast and just right down the row. Just hit subscribe.
Listen,
Every single one of them.
Have you launched the OC podcast yet?
Oh, we're 2 episodes deep, John. It's too
No,
late.
gotta cancel that. No, no.
We can't stop that progress.
No, what have you done? Okay, no, listen. Like, mark the tape, because in a year, when that OC podcast has 1 billion downloads.
Well, my favorite thing was that I wanted to call it something that had more to do with the OC, and
Pretty
Joe,
good name, dude. That's a pretty good name.
Well, no, Joe being the brilliant man that he is he goes, no, we're going to call it White People Problems because there's only 90 episodes of the OC. So if this podcast takes off, we could just find more white people problem TV shows to talk about.
Didn't you already do the Boy Meets World?
I think what we've been talking about is once we finish the OC, it'll either be something like Pretty Little Liars or Dawson's Creek.
Great.
Like another one of those just like teen melodramatic bullshit shows.
I love it, man. Dude, that is hilarious. No, I'm being facetious. It's hilarious. I look forward to that one. I think that's great. Geekscape is sign up for that White People Problems podcast. It sounds fantastic.
Subscribe to the fucking YouTube channel because tomorrow we're going to be talking about Deep Space Nine up in here. I won't be there because I don't really know too much about the show. But Caitlin, who does the Final Frontier podcast, is going to be hosting a panel with a few of her friends, as well as Ashley Victoria Robinson of the Geek History Lesson podcast. They're just going to be sharing their favorite Deep Space Nine memories because tomorrow is the 30-year anniversary of that show debuting.
Okay,
We're getting old, John.
Listen. No, I love it. I love it. We're
old.
spreading like the rabies if the monkey had bit me.
Yeah. Maybe you did.
Geekscape is
And you transferred it through my phone to the podcast.
If you're still listening to this an hour and 19 minutes in, I love you. Thank you. Wake up. You clearly fell asleep while listening to the podcast, and you need to work in the morning. Actually, you're dreaming about a monkey. No, listen, I'm not going to do that. The ASMR.
When you wake up, you're gonna go ahead and just subscribe to all the Geekscape shows.
Listen. You're clearly asleep right now because we're an hour in, a plus. So this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna Cash App Jonathan $100.
Maybe send Matt a Venmo too. You can find him at Matthew-Kelly-89.
This is what you're gonna do. You're gonna start a Geekscape podcast, and Jonathan's gonna try and cancel it as a joke, and then it's gonna have 1 million subscribers later. Okay, that's enough.
Okay.
What you're gonna do is you're gonna share this episode with your friends. Share that subscribe button. Share the episode. Leave a review. All that stuff. I gotta go provide dinner for the wife and get our lives going. I gotta call my mom back. She called right before the show, and Matt was privy to that conversation. She's like,
Dude, there was no joking. She was just like, "You will call me,
Juanito. You will call me." She's gonna put like some curse on me if I don't. Juanito, you will call me. All right, Geekscape, this is enough. We'll talk to you later. Subscribe, review, all that. Love you. Peace.